Good morning, friends. Today we have a fantastic guest with us. His name is Michael and he's from Singapore, and he's a professional speaker, and he will tell more about himself first before we discuss anything further.
Don't need to know anything about me. I've just been speaking and training for 37 years in 37 countries, over 3,700 programs. And you learn as you go along listening to the people that you work with. So whenever I share something, I make sure I always come away with more that I learn.
Yes, and we are attending a boot camp conducted by Professional Speakers Association of India, and he's one of the speakers. And we are privileged to have got wisdom from him yesterday. And he added lots of value in our life. Thank you very much, Michael, for that.
Well, it's an honor. I've had so many people share with me. So.
Yes. And so before we go further, I want to understand what you think my mission abundance means.
Yes. Well, we just talked a little bit about it, and everybody uses terms differently, but I believe we have opportunities to have great things in all of our lives. But I talk about the 5 F's. Faith, family, fitness, which is our health, financial, and friendships. When I was younger, priorities were a lot different. Mm-hmm. But right now, I see it in that case, and my faith in God is number one in my life. Mm-hmm. And it gives me everything I've ever asked for. Every single thing I asked for, He answered in my prayers. A lot of times He said no, because what I was asking for was foolish. Mm-hmm. But He gave me something better. And so faith is the first one, and to me the most important. Then family. I asked God for the perfect wife, not just any wife, but the perfect wife. And He gave her to me. It just, I believe at that moment she was conceived. When I made the prayer, I didn't meet her for 26 years. And she's just absolutely wonderful. My heart beat. Then I wanted 2 children, and I wanted a boy and a girl, and He gave me that. And so in your family, you're going to have disagreements and fights and arguments only because we're not taking the time to listen and understand one another. When we really commit to and understand the person that we're with in marriage, with our children, it becomes a lot less chaotic and a lot more abundantly rich. Okay, so faith, family, fitness, health, eating right, exercising. It doesn't take long. Not sitting all day long. Sitting's the new smoking, as you know. So it's constantly moving throughout the day and making sure you get your 10,000 steps on a consistent basis. So fitness has got to be there, and I've changed my diet. I've gone to whole food, plant-based nutrition. I don't like diet. You don't want to diet. I've tried dieting, and then you yo-yo up and down. Not good. So faith, family, friends, fitness, and the financial side. You can have what you need, and more than that, as long as you're willing to share it with others. If you hoard billions of dollars and you've got that, you're not doing any good with it, it can choke you. You know, you got to look at it. What do you really need? And you ask for it, you work for it, you plan for it, you put your time into it without sacrificing family, without sacrificing the other things that are important in your life. You can have wealth, but I also know of people who have riches, and who commit suicide. Because they don't have happiness and joy in their life. So things have to be in the right proportion. And you can have the money. Making money is not hard. It's something I found out a long time ago. Making money is easy, but being able to keep the money, have the money grow for you, being able to enjoy the money. I know so many top leaders, you know, they've got all this money and they're working, and then you take a look. I hate to point a finger at anybody, but you look at Amazon, you know, and Bezos. I mean, he was 150 billion, and I don't know what went on in their marriage, and so I can't cast aspersions. But the reality, gets divorced, then it goes back down to 75 billion, and his wife immediately gives away 35-40% of her share. You've got to be looking at the whole picture, and how do you make everything work together. And then in terms of friendships, that used to be really high on my priority when I was a single guy. Then after getting married, it dropped lower and lower. In 2013, I stopped drinking beer. I really enjoyed beer. It wasn't quantity. I'd have 2, maybe 3 beers a day. But I heard for the first time a still small voice of God tell me, Mike, stop drinking. I couldn't figure out why. For 2 weeks, I kind of fought it. Then, okay, I took my last beer out of the fridge, put it next to my Bible as a sign of submission. And I haven't had anything since, and I have no desire. Okay, he stripped that away, and I couldn't figure out why. And a year and a half later, it was because the beer had become important. If somebody offered me a beer I didn't like, I wouldn't take it. You know, I didn't like Beck's. You might love Beck's, but it's too hoppy for me. Heineken, to me, I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't go for it. When I went to an Islamic country for 10 days working, they'd say, oh, I know of a little place we can go to, speakeasy, and you can. I don't want it. I'm respecting what's going on in the country. I didn't have to have it. I enjoyed a good beer, but it was too important to me. It was not. I would work my dates with my bride around where they had good beer, and so I've given it up. And the reality is, I'm happier. I look at other people now, and sometimes they drink too much and they talk rubbish. I go, that would have been me, you know. So I'm very grateful for that gift. But friends now, sometimes my old friends that I would drink beer with don't get together with me. They feel funny because now I'm not drinking. I got another buddy of mine that I would have an occasional ice cold refreshing malted beverage with, my buddy Scott Friedman, and he's still perfectly okay. He'll have a beer with me. He doesn't care that I don't have a beer. It doesn't matter. You know, and he's still my friend. We still get together and invest time together. So you got to know who your friends are. That a lot of people, when you're doing well, are like, hey, friend, buddy, wow. And then if you don't have the money, or you don't have the beer, you don't have the time for them because of family, all of a sudden they're not your friends anymore if you cannot provide something for them of value. So you really got to know, friends are heart friends. I've got 5 really good friends on this planet. Some I hardly ever see. They're in South Africa, but they are my heart friends, and they will always be my friends. If they never needed anything, they could come stay with us. But it's probably the other way around. They're very well-to-do. So it's taking a look at your life and what do you want from life. Is it WhatsApp? That's your life. Is it notifications on your phone? Is that your life? Is it the smartphone being on your desk so you can answer instantly every little that comes into that thing? Or is it the relationships in your life that matter to you? Abundance in everything is not good. You know, you don't want abundance of problems. You don't want abundance of pain. You need abundance in the right things, the major things. Like Jim Rohn taught me back in the 70s and the 80s. He said, major in the majors. Don't major in the minors.
Good, well said.
Okay.
And what is your fifth F?
Oh, faith, family, friends. Faith, family, fitness. Did I talk about fitness?
Yes.
Okay. Financial. And then friendships. Friendships. Okay. I think I talked a little bit about friendships. Maybe I didn't go exactly ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
It's early morning. I'm still on my second cup of coffee. I talk about how some would say don't have but coffee because it's bad for your brain, whatever. But also studies show that it's good for your brain and good for circulatory system and some other things. Depends how you have it. But at any rate, so you can have up to 4 cups of coffee a day. The studies I've been reading have been showing that. So, but with friendships, seeking good friends, friends that build you up, and friends that are also mentors. I've got some amazing mentors in my life, and I consider them my friends. There are 3 kinds of mentors that we need. I learned this from our pastor. You need a Paul, a Barnabas, and a Timothy. Okay, and this works very well in secular world too. You need a Paul or Paulina is someone who knows more about what you want to learn about than you do. Okay, they know more about money, they know more about abundance, they know more about joy, and in my case, my Paul knows more about God and the study of the Bible than anybody else I know. I mean, he speaks not only Hindi and Tamil and fluent English, but he reads and writes and understands, speaks Hebrew, ancient Greek. I mean, this guy has got a brain that, and he's always got great answers, and he's an incredibly humble, loving man. Andrew Spurgeon, amazing guy. So he's one of my mentors. You need a Paul or Paulina, somebody who knows more. You want to be good in business about making money? Get a mentor that knows more about money than you do. Okay, and the reality is, getting a mentor is easy. You ask somebody, and they can say no. But I found 9 out of 10 will say yes if you have a relationship. Do favors for somebody. Just ask them for lunch. And after several lunches, you buy. You buy. Jim Rohn also taught me that poor people should ask rich people to lunch to ask them how they got rich and buy them lunch. Don't expect them to, they got so much money, I don't. That's irrelevant. You're paying for your education. So you need a Paul or Paulina, someone who knows more. You need a Barnabas or Bernice, somebody who's your peer. And we get together regularly. I've got a mastermind group of top speakers that we get together. Frederick Herron, David Lim, Robin Speculin. These are masters in what they do, and I'm in awe to be in the group with them. And we've been meeting for over 6 years, maybe 7 now. And that's a great group. I have a 3-2-1 group. And that's 3 men, 2 hours, once a month. And we talk about what's going on in our lives, about our families, about our wives, about our kids, about all kinds of aspects of business. And it's there, but people don't ask, they don't think. And as a result, it's harder to grab the abundance in life if you're not taking advantage of the abundant joy from people, the abundant knowledge of people, the abundant wisdom of people. So you need Paul or Paulina, Barnabas, peers that you meet with, and then Timothy's. These are people, this is really important. You need Timothy's or Tina's. These are people you mentor. When you're mentoring somebody else, you have to walk the talk. You can't tell them to do something you're not doing. My dad, old Slovak man, and his dad, my grandpa, said, Nem so sabaso sa teselni, which means don't do like I do like I tell you to do.
Okay.
My dad hated that. Now, when I was growing up, my dad said to me, Nem so sabaso sa teselni, don't do like I do like I tell you to do. He would smoke, I wouldn't. But he told me not to do it. We eventually got him to quit. That's why he made it to 88. But then he took with my son and my daughter, they know what Nemso Sabaso Teselni means as a family heritage. But I tell them, if you see me doing something that I told you not to do, I want you to call me on it and point it out. If I tell you not to watch R-rated movies, I'm not watching R-rated movies. If they catch me watching one, Dad, I thought we said, yes, okay, shut it off. Do you get what I'm saying? And I make my kids my accountability partners because I want them to know the consistency in my message. It's really easy to tell the kids, don't do this, don't do that, and be hypocritical. Now, there's a difference. You tell your 6-year-old kid to go to bed at 7 o'clock doesn't mean you have to go to bed at 7 o'clock. We're still adults. But for matters of principle, values, we have to be consistent with that. I believe in my heart. So Paul or Paulina, someone who knows more, a Barnabas or Bernice, our peers, we got to get together with them and keep growing relationships. And also Timothy's or Tina's, people that we mentor. When we're mentoring others, we got to get better at what we're doing because we have to show the message with our lives.
Great. It's good to know your 5F formula. And now I want to understand one important F that you mentioned is about financial freedom.
Yes.
Right? So how can one achieve financial freedom?
Get advice, mentors, financial mentors that have a lot more money than you do. A lot of people who call themselves financial experts, and then sometimes they're referred to as brokers. I found brokers usually make you broker.
Yes.
Find people who have made a lot of money themselves, who are wealthy, and talk to them. Find out from them how to do it. They will give you insights and ideas. And don't just have one, because their approach may not be your approach. Sometimes their approach has been based upon contacts from birth. And those who hang around with wealthy people tend to find it easier to make money. But somebody who didn't have money and then acquiring money legally, morally, ethically, and then see if you can learn from them and mimic some of what they do. If you want to work in markets, investing, my suggestion is practice. Practice with fake money. In other words, imagine you're investing $1 million or in something, and it was something you thought was going to be a great investment, and track it. And over the next 6 months, a year, you track it, and if you double your money, wow, should have been in there, but you made a good decision. You got to do that repeatedly, though, to see you're consistent about doing that. Then, maybe if you've done it consistently for a year or 2 years, then invest real money. At the same time, you got to remember markets go up and down, and things will be different in another market. So invest money periodically that is imaginary money and keep track of it. And if you can show a consistent performance in up markets, down markets, flat markets, then you've got what it takes to really invest in that. Otherwise, there are certain guaranteed investments that don't pay as high of interest, but they pay a reasonable interest in that particular market. The key is consistently saving money. If you're not saving money, you'd have nothing to invest. So, a couple simple ideas. This will help you create. Now, people say, well, you can have anything, and I know we believe in abundance, but you can't take everything you have and spend it on, say, great clothes. You can't take everything you have and spend it on a car that is going to be worth less and less and less every day. That's not an investment. Instead, look at what you're spending and ask yourself, is this adding value to my life? Is this making me wealthier? And as a rule of thumb, my bride and I have a simple philosophy, and that is, if you don't have cash money, don't buy it. Okay, don't put it on credit cards. Credit cards and the interest rates can dry you up. So you don't have cash, don't buy it. Second rule is even more important. If you have the cash, still don't buy it. Now, that may not sound like what most people are thinking of, but we tend to spend things on clothes because they're on sale, or something else because we think we need it, and you don't. And what you want to do is continually build up your pile of cash and then invest it in the proper places so it doesn't disappear suddenly. And you can grow an incredibly wealthy portfolio. I believe in my heart, all of us have the ability to create wealth. I've seen it with people who came from rags to riches. My dad went through the Depression, had to quit high school. And he had to work in the butcher shop sweeping floors for 2 hours just to get the fat that they throw away today. And he'd bring it home, they'd eat fat sandwiches. But they had to do it to survive. But he worked his way up from that. He was stacking cans at a supermarket. And he hated that job, but he had to do it because he needed the income. And he watched these salesmen come in and out with nice clothes and nice cars. And he said, well, why can't I do that? And he started applying for sales jobs. They all said no, because he didn't have a high school diploma. And he just didn't give up. Abundance comes from not giving up. When somebody says no is when you got to start really pushing. And he just kept going. And finally, he went to one company and he said, no, they can't take you can't because you don't have your... He says, please give me a chance. I want to sell. I know I can sell. And they gave him a chance. And they gave him the worst territory in the world. And he went in there, and for 2 weeks he was kicked out of places, he was spat on, he was laughed at, and he only made a few small sales, retail products. And he went back after 2 weeks to the office, and they were surprised to see him. They thought he'd quit and taken all the stocks they'd given him. and he says, I'm sorry, I guess I was wrong, I can't sell, and here I've only sold this and this and this, and everybody in the office that was there, all the salespeople laughed. Why are you laughing at me? We're not laughing at you. You're the only one who lasted more than 2 days, and you went 2 weeks. You've got what it takes to sell. And they gave him a new territory, a good territory. The boss went in and helped to train him. You can do some amazing things. You can achieve great things, but you've got to be willing to put yourself out there. You got to be willing to take chances. You got to be willing to start from a humble background to grow your wealth. Don't expect immediately, oh, I'm abundant now, and you start buying a flashy car, because that's the quickest road to bankruptcy.
Okay. Yeah, good, well said that. Now, in your path to abundance and financial freedom, I'm sure there are lots of moments where you were feeling down. You know, you were in the pits. So, what were you feeling at that time, and how did you overcome those moments? What did you do exactly?
Yeah, I've had a number of those. And when things just collapse, when things just start to appear to be failures, these are learning opportunities. You don't give up just because it gets tough. You don't give up because you got kicked in the gut. I use martial arts analogies because I've been started the martial arts 48 years ago. I'm not very active now. My wheels tell me no. My wheels, my knees, they tell me not to do it anymore. My hips, my shoulders, I've had operations on all my joints from playing full contact karate. And when you get kicked in the gut, you want to give up. But what I learned from karate was when you get kicked and the air's knocked out of you, and forgive me, this is not meant to be crude, but when I get kicked in the groin and lifted a quarter meter off the ground with that hit, you don't stop because you're going to get beat up worse. You got to go back and fight. And what I found was if you just keep fighting, you never lose. The only time we lose is when we quit or we fail to try. When do you lose? When you quit or you fail to try in the first place. Everybody has difficulty in their lives. You show me somebody who's successful, and I'll show you somebody who's failed many, many times. But they kept getting up. It's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up. It's not where you came from, not who birthed you, not where your background is. It's who you are in here and in here. And when you believe you can do it, you can do it. When you go and fight like you can do it, you do it. When you refuse to give up, you can do it. I'm not saying stick with, say, a retail business that's losing money until you're absolutely bankrupt, because maybe it's not right. In New Zealand, I met a woman, she came to my program, said, oh, I wish